Right at it. Right at it. Oh, he's done it again. Just as he did at the John Deere for his first win.
Welcome to episode 200 of the Go Get That podcast. Dan and Jordan. It says I'm Bob. I am Jordan. If episode 200 is your first episode. And we are back to look back a little bit at the Travelers Championship. It's another 2-in-1 episode. It'll be a small look back at the Travelers Championship where our guy again, Jordan Spieth, was uncompetitive. 3 straight events of being uncompetitive. He has lost his last 3 events by a combined 53 shots. So hasn't been pretty. We'll talk a little bit of Travelers, obviously quite a bit of John Deere. Back in Silvis, good old Silvis, 2-time champion here is Mr. Spieth coming. Those 2 wins coming many, many moons ago. Obviously good vibes for him here, though. A little bit surprising. I think we'll get into that. A little bit surprising that he's showing up here, I think. And what looks like he'll be skipping next week the Scottish. So going John Deere, skipping Scottish. Thought it would be the other way around, but here we are, back in Silvis and back with my good old friend Dan.
Yes, no, good to be here. You've been around since the beginning. Thank you. 200 is kind of a crazy number. First episode, I believe, was the 2021 Ryder Cup at Whistling Straits. Things have changed quite a bit since then. Obviously, I think 199 episodes. You ask us if he's back at the Deere at any point during our tenure, we would say no. But nonetheless, I think part of the reason for coming back here is it's a little bit in a more favorable spot. Used to be the week right before the Open, and now with the Scottish kind of moving into that week before the Open, it's a little easier to come play the Deere and then still get across the pond in time, either to play the Scottish, which more unlikely than not this year, but just go get adjusted to being across the pond, being at Birkdale, and getting the good feels and good vibes back. But kind of an underrated week, I think. Gets a lot of hate, but it's certainly, obviously it's a TPC course, so it's nothing too special. But I think it's kind of embraced that its sponsor in a very positive way, and like, you know what you're getting. It feels like a staple every year. It's going to be hot this year. It looks like the wind might be up a little bit, which is nice because it's not can certainly play pretty easy, but I think there's some elevation changes out there, and if the wind's blowing a little bit, of course experience will matter some. So we'll see if the Texan can dig into that to kind of find his way at the first page of the leaderboard for a few days. I think is kind of the goal at this point, as we're going forward into the final stretch of tournaments here.
Yeah, I think I said it the last time we were previewing this event. I think this might be the best TPC course on tour. Bold take. I think it's this and probably Sawgrass. I think this course just doesn't get the attention it honestly should get. Because it's in the Midwest. It's in frickin' Silvis, Illinois. I think most viewers probably didn't know where Silvis was, or you wouldn't know where it is unless you paid attention to this event. And the field's usually weak. Decent field this week, though. I mean, you got Koiven, Bradley, Ben Griffin, got her up. Decent field for the Deere, which is cool. I think, again, I said it's a really underrated golf course. And yeah, we'll see what the Texan can do. I guess going back to last week at the Travelers, a new low for the year. I think that was certainly worse than, well, these last 3 events have not been, none of them have been good, but it felt like the Travelers was kind of the rock bottom of the year so far. Lost by 21, I think, 21 shots.
21 shots, yes.
From a statistical point of view, I believe it was his worst tournament of the year. It was bad. I mean, he was struggling to break par at a golf course that was being torn apart by pretty much everyone, and didn't do anything well, which is, I think, the red flag. I think there's been a lot of talk about Mills, rightfully so, has not putted well in a while now, hasn't putted well in majors, period, for many moons. But Mills has been very cold, but at the same time, nothing has been good. He
Yeah.
again, as I noted in our Travelers preview, my one of my favorite Spieth stats coming in this year is never gained strokes off the tee at TPC River Highlands, and certainly didn't this week. He was driving it all over the place. He lost the ball. I think he could have lost two balls had he not hit a tree on 10 on Sunday. Wasn't finding fairways at a golf course where you need to find fairways, how lush and wet the rough was. Driver wasn't good. The approach play wasn't good. I guess the short game doesn't really matter when you're not. I mean, short game is just, it's not really necessary when you're 21 shots behind. It's not like he could have got up and down 21 times and save a score. And the putter was bad. Again, he did make a few on Sunday, I think. Pretty typical round of this year, Dan, I'd say on Sunday.
Yeah.
Wasn't really paying attention the whole weekend. I gave myself the weekend off, deservedly so. But he was 3 or 4 under through 9 on Sunday at Islands, and had a really good round going. The scoring got better as the day went on, as the good players took the course, but could have been a really good day on Sunday. And then he kind of did what he's done. He went out fast, and then was the caboose coming in. Made like 3 bogeys in 4 holes, and it's just, I mean, you can't be doing that at TPC River Highlands. So yeah, week began on a whimper, ended on a whimper. Wasn't pretty then.
No, it was certainly not. I didn't have the pleasure of watching much either, which in hindsight maybe is the pleasure. But I mean, you said it. He's never driven the ball well there. Even in his win, didn't gain off the tee. Look at a stretch on Saturday where I think he's probably even par going into 12. It's a snap hook. There's a triple pretty quickly. Lost ball, and then obviously a water ball on the next on 13. It's like, that's just 2 horrific tee shots in a row. Arguably 3 if you count the second ball off 12 tee, but just kind of sums up. Obviously, those are the extremes, but just kind of sums up how poor the play is there from him. Compare it to guys like Hovland, Scheffler. I mean, Wyndham Clark's playing some unbelievable golf right now, but guys were pushing 20 under this week, and the Texan didn't even make. I think he made 13 birdies for the week, which is just not good enough around that golf course. Made 7 in the first 3 rounds. Kind of look at that as speaking to putter. Could look at that as speaking to the approach play. I think it just wasn't quite sharp enough. Felt like he had a lot of looks from 15 to 25 feet, which is fine at the US Open, not fine at the Travelers. Got to be hitting the golf ball closer, but could argue a lot of that's just due to hitting out of the rough, hitting out of the bunkers off the tee. So we'll see. I'm not too, my hopes are not high. I don't think he's playing very well. But I don't think last week is like, whew, man, like we are so far away. I think it was just more of a continuation of some of the bad golf we've seen. Maybe a little post-major letdown, and an inability to make any form of a putt longer than 10 feet until Saturday, I think, which is just truly incredible. And just somebody who's never hit it well there off the tee, and that's going to catch up to you pretty quickly, especially with the conditions the way they were. It's not surprising, considering how well he drove it at the US Open for the most part, that the driver would just disappear. I mean, he said it in his presser going into the John Deere, which was a lengthy presser. Recommend you kind of listen or watch. I know you posted the transcripts on your story, Jordan, but it's mostly mental at this point. I think there's only so many mechanical fixes that you can make. Um, and he says continues to feel great about where he's at. Um, and honestly, I don't see anything wrong with the golf swing. I think there's something wrong with the targets. I think there's something wrong with maybe how he views momentum. I mean, you look at Sunday, 4 under through 9, makes the turn, and 10, it's an instant snap hook into a tree. T-ball goes 190 yards. It's like that just can't happen. Like that's to me, that's mental. You're going along just fine, and then it's a snap hook into the trees, misses a makeable putt on 11, and bogey 12, bogey 13, and we're back down to kind of where we started the round, sort of thrown away. So ultimately, another chance to kind of get hot. I don't think we'll see how this week goes. Hopefully the putter clicks and there's some firepower there, but just not sharp enough, and I don't think he trusts it enough. And that's honestly, I think that's it's all mental at this point. Mechanically, I don't think there's things that are wrong. It's the mental ability to repeat the mechanics. Because he's hit plenty of balls. He's hit plenty of putts. It's just about trying to, letting it happen and going and playing golf instead of playing golf shot, hitting lines, playing, um the less feel side of it, and just trying to everything to be perfect, I think is where he's at, and that's clearly not working very well.
Yeah, that's really well said. I was out working when he was in the media room earlier, but I pulled up the transcript as soon as I could, and I see at the top right of my iPhone 105. Got 5 pages of words from Jordan Spieth. Usually the pressers don't always go that long. It's a good one. I think I had two main takeaways. I think just to start, yeah, I think I agree with you, Dan. I think at this point it probably is more mental than, mechanical. Sure, the mechanics are not perfect. I think I mean, he even said that today. He doesn't have all the shots, but I think he's in his head, especially with the putter. I think with everything. I just think the putter not being able to contribute at all bleeds into everything. Would be cool if, I kind of knew how much of that was the case, like how badly is it bleeding in. But anywho, um, two main takeaways I had from the presser today that I kind of picked through. One, it looks very likely that it'll be Mills for the rest of the year. Confirmed it'll be Mills this week. I think there was a video of him yesterday. We're recording this Tuesday night. It was Mills on the practice screen, and then today he kind of clarified it's going to be Mills this week, and the lab and everything else is going to be back in the bag or the garage back in Dallas. So it looks like Mills for the rest of the year. Fine. I don't care at this point. I don't care. Can't control it anyway. Two, we were talking about this morning, Dan, before he spoke. You asked me for my thoughts on the Scottish next week. You gave him a 25% chance. I gave him a 50% chance, or at least higher, I think is what I told you. And Jay Spieth kind of answered that question earlier, and your guess of 25% was closer than mine. I think I alluded to it when I was opening the podcast. Doesn't look like he's playing the Travelers. I mean, the Travelers. Yeah, he didn't play the Travelers, that's for sure. Didn't play it well, at least. But the Scottish next week, don't think he will be there. Pulling up the quote right now for the folks. It's kind of funny. I'm looking at the PGA Media website, Dan, and they already have the Pro-Am up for next week at the Scottish, which
Yeah,
is very interesting.
they get the Scottish stuff out pretty early. Like that
Yeah,
field is usually set by now.
yeah, that's insane, Dan. Holy crap. Uh,
So
Anywho, well, yeah, Jay Spieth is not on the Pro-Am next week for the Scottish, which we're learning right now, which probably tells you he's not going to be there. But yeah, I was going to bring up the quote from the presser today, which is kind of alluding to him not being there, but the Pro-Am list kind of already did it. But yeah, he was asked about Birkdale, which for our YouTube viewers that are watching Dan and I's beautiful faces, I do have a Scottish brew. We're not going to Scotland, we're going to England, but Tennent's is a great beer that gets overlooked by Guinness. Anywho, was asked about Birkdale earlier, and he mentioned that if I could find it here, it's in a different spot on my laptop than the phone. Oh, there we go. Going to try to get over there a couple of days early and get to earn leadership, or I think that's probably a misunderstanding of what he said by the technology of the course before the official practice rounds start. So official practice rounds are typically Monday through Wednesday, and he wants to get there before then. So put the pieces of the puzzle together. Either he's planning on playing the Scottish and missing the cut and getting over to Birkdale on Saturday and Sunday, or he's going to be skipping the Scottish, which is looking like the likely outcome, and getting to Birkdale Saturday or Sunday and getting the lay of the land. So those are my two main takeaways from the presser today. A good one, some interesting stuff in there. 15 or probably 15 minutes with 5 pages of words out of Jay Spieth, which was nice to see.
Yeah, no, you hit the important ones, I think. No Scottish. It kind of sucks because I like watching him play in that event. It's fun to get up early and enjoy some coffee golf, but at the same time, it's not like a track that he's torn up, and frankly isn't the greatest prep for an open, other than the weather and some of the shots. But just in terms of the turf and the linksy style, it's not quite uh what he's going to get at Birkdale the following week. And then you mentioned the putter. Um, and my takeaway, kind of in conjunction with yours, was feels like he's hitting his lines and they're just not going in. It's like, well, we've heard that a lot. And I wish I could have watched more Saturday, just to kind of see some of the putts. Sunday looked solid, on the greens. I mean, dude, this kind of goes back to what we've talked about the greens books. Like, if you're hitting your lines and they're not going in the hole, then your lines must be atrocious. Like, it's so there's the combination of, yes, he hits some bad putts. I think the more I kind of internalize and think about what this year has been, it's that there's a mental issue when something doesn't go quite right. And rightfully so. I in some capacity, like, it's okay to be frustrated. But there's also the frustration is there because it's simply things do not go right ever. Like, there is a continued ability to miss putts that is unbelievably frustrating, that just bleeds into other things. And then when he does, have a 5-footer that's a pseudo important putt, it gets rushed, or he just doesn't trust it because he felt like he hit a good putt on the previous couple holes and they didn't go in because he's misreading the greens. So we'll see if some familiar greens here at Silvis kind of help him out. Because it's easy to forget, like, putted very well at the RBC, putted well at Genesis. Like, there's been times where Mills has been the best club in the bag and the best club at the tournament out of all the players this year. We're a few months removed from that now, obviously, and would love to see it in some of these bigger events, but it it can't be as bad as it looks. And I think he's probably closer than it might seem, but I mean, it seems like we're having a really hard time getting over that, oh, I'm so close boundary that he keeps sort of um, enunciating about in his press conferences, or pre-tournament, post-round, whatever it might be. And it seems to kind of all fall back on the same thing, and an inability to keep momentum. And to me, I mean, he kind of said it this week. It's like, yeah, I hit good putts, and I don't not believe him, but that means that if you're hitting good putts, then you're having horrible reads. Like, something about getting the ball into the hole is not going very well. And I think that's where some people would maybe call for the caddy to be of more assistance, but I also think that the player could trust his instincts a little bit more, because he's not like he just forgot how to read putts, you know. Um, and maybe it helps to putt out 8 footers in a practice round. That's another idea that
That'd be
would
nice.
go to work. Just I know I get people clamoring for all the change and whatnot, and I get it. Makes sense. I'd love to see the lab in the bag. I think you saw the reason he didn't have the lab in. It was like, oh, I hit some putts that felt good, but the speed was just way off.
Let's not go
Um,
down that rabbit hole.
I was like, dude, like, come on. That feels like a kind of a cop out, and an inability to adjust, and somebody that's maybe want to say like working too hard, but just like trying too hard. Like he's putting a bunch of effort into manufacturing good golf when he just needs to go play. And that's, I think, no, I'm saying a lot here, but ultimately kind of glad he's playing again, because I think sometimes just playing golf makes you better. And I would expect my expectations this week are certainly much higher than last week, but I'm kind of expecting a decent week this week. Um, I don't know if you have any thoughts on what you might expect him to finish up on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the continuation of being close, and he is now 56th in the data golf rankings. Last time he was that low was after the missed cut in Phoenix, um, when he was 64th. But yeah, expectations for this week. Um, First of all, I think I texted you. I kind of spoiled it, but I wanted you to take a guess where he is in the model um, for
Yeah.
this week.
Well, this is kind of you did text me about it, so I know where he is. But Data Golf's also has him pretty high. Have you seen where he is
I
there?
think he's higher in theirs than mine.
Yeah. So I believe he's 10th in yours, and he's like 8th in Data Golf's, which is interesting in terms of odds to win. Um, I think that speaks more to the field, but I also think there's something about sticky course history here. And he certainly has that going for him.
Yeah, no, he's ninth in my model, which I was pleasantly surprised by. I thought these last three events would have him way down there, but one, this field is not very good. Two, he's got some good vibes, some good course history. And three, I think you kind of alluded to it. I'm kind of sensing a bounce back this week. And I didn't say that at Travelers because I didn't think that was a great course fit for him, and he doesn't typically play well there. He's played here 5 times, and he's putted well or good 4 of them. And the only time he's putted poorly was in 2012. It's actually funny. I kind of forget that he played this event in 2012 before he won in 2013. That's besides the point. Yeah, I'm kind of feeling a bounce back week. I mean, if he doesn't play well here in this field, it's just like I already posted on Friday on my Instagram. I said JETS just end the season. I'm still kind of in that boat,
Yeah.
but if I'm gonna, we're going to Royal Birkdale, and he's going back there for the first time in 9 years. I'm going to be hopeful that this can be a week that can give him some confidence. I don't really know what type of result can do that because a T19 in this field, like it's just not great. It's kind of like the Byron Nelson, I think, where he was T19. We got to start somewhere. I mean, he's had 3 straight very, very non-competitive events, and anything to start building kind of in the right direction would be nice. Um, so I'm cautiously optimistic, and I mean his chances of making it to the BMW and securing signature event status next year continue to drop.
Yeah.
Which is another talking point. I think he was 58% per data golf to be top 50, to make the top 50 going into last week, and he's now down to 42%.
Yeah.
So big opportunity lost last week for points purposes. Um, He's down to 38%. If I'm yeah, 38% to make it in the top 50. So I think that's probably the goal for the end of the year. I hate to say that, but like securing signature event status for next year would be nice. I mean, he'd get the sponsors exemptions anyway, and the last year they'll be around next year. But yeah, I mean, we're not looking at that many more events this year, Dan. I mean, we're looking at the John Deere, we're looking at the Open, we're looking at the Wyndham, probably. He'll be in for the FedEx St. Jude, and then who knows? Who knows if he's going to be able to get to the BMW?
I mean, yeah. I mean, let's see here. Where is he in the FedEx Cup?
52.
Okay. I mean, I don't know if Data Golf has a number on his chances to make St. Jude. I'm sure it's probably in the.
100%.
Oh, really?
He's a lock.
Interesting. Okay.
Can't
It
fall
could have.
that much.
Yeah. I mean, he plays like he did the last three tournaments, and he's not going to get any points.
I think he already has enough points to secure top 70.
Okay.
They have the cutoff at 594, and he has 689.
Okay. So he'll be in Memphis then. What do they think the cutoff for BMW will be? I guess it's a little different because the playoff points. Like,
889.
okay. So he's at 690.
Yeah, they think he's going to need 200 more points on the button.
Okay. So a solo two gets the job done.
Funny.
And I mean, look, it's just been so long since we've seen a top 10. It's been 13 months.
Yeah,
Is he
over
really that bad of
365
a
days.
he really that bad of a player?
He's not bad. He's just average.
Yeah, I don't know. My concern here for a top 10 this week or any kind of outs of contention is one, we haven't really seen much firepower in terms of the good. Right? There's not been a lot of circles going on the card until Sunday at the Travelers. Second concern is that he made an average of three total squares around at the Travelers. And I'm
Not
talking
good.
just general squares. Obviously, he made a stretch of five squares in two holes on Saturday. But like that's pretty terrible.
Yeah.
Um,
Nope, I know.
and it's hard to contend. Like the reason he was still in the US Open is because he made his typical amount of squares, but he had enough birdies and enough pars that it was like, okay, like you're hanging around halfway through your round on Saturday and really could have been in a pretty good spot going into the back nine, obviously a couple mistakes down the stretch there. So we'll see how dialed the swing is. I think we'll know pretty early, where this week's gonna go. A made cut would be great, but if it's a made cut and he's T56, obviously the points matter a ton at this point in the ball game, but it's like it's just kind of the same old, same old. But we'll see. That's why you keep teeing it up, putting the peg in the ground, keep swinging the club. Never know when something's gonna click. And God, it'd be so refreshing to just see him in contention with the late tee time on Saturday and a Sunday, working his way back into some form as we kind of go into Birkdale. Because I think you said it right. Like, gotta goal is just to get the Bellerive. Just get the Bellerive, and then you can get to year 3 of your 15-year plan. And that's pretty pathetic, but it is what it is. And who knows? You get the Bellerive, you have a really good week. Maybe you get to East Lake. I think it was T12 at Bellerive in 18, so not a bad course fit by any means, but
What percent chance do you think Data Golf gives him of making it to Eastlake right now?
um 16.
8. 8%.
Yeah, that feels right.
That's brutal.
Yeah. Well, I think they're right. I mean, we'd have to see a pretty significant turnaround. I will note, like, even in 2015 was maybe a bit of an anomaly. I can't remember necessarily a stretch where it didn't go particularly well, but even 2017 there was a lull, right? Like the good golf is not played all the time. The best player. That's why Scotty's so incredible because his lull is T22, T24, T9. Um, but got to get yourself out of the lull and quickly. So good chance to do so this week. I'm excited because the fourth is observed Friday, so I get to watch on Friday in full, which will be great. Um, and then early late playing with Coyven and Ben Griffin. That's kind of a fun group. I'm sure that'll be the most followed group on the property. Spieth and Coyven in his first pro event, so that'll be fun. And Sammy Spieth will get to enjoy the tractors, which is great. That's why we go, right? That's why we play.
Yes,
So
that's why we're going. Yes, Data Golf thinks he needs to double his points pretty much. He's got 689. They predict the cutoff for East Lake will be 1351.
yeah,
So need to double it. I do want to get in a triple double because while Bob is not live with us, he should be able to text us who he wants. And he's taken a commanding lead. It's more of a competition for second and third between Dan and I at this point. Dan had Hovland last week,
I did.
so it's another outright for the podcast. Dan has clawed back to be only through every single event on tour this year, not named the Zurich. He is only now less than 200 grand behind me. So a great comeback from Dan to get closer to second. The problem is Bob has created a buffer of about 6 million, which not impossible to catch for Dan and I, but that's a lot of dollars to make up. We have three big money events left on the schedule for our competition because we don't do the tour championship, and you do the math, it's going to be tough. But who knows? I think that means that starting this week, you got to go all in, and I'm going to be going first and kind of just going straight down the list of guys who I think have the best chance to win this week. So I will lead off. I don't think I've used Ben Griffin twice. Be funny. I have used him twice. Of course I have. That's fine. That's fine. Um, well, if it's not going to be Ben Griffin, it will be, I believe, the other guy in Spieth's group, not named Spieth, I think. Yeah, I'm sorry, Dan. Yeah, I'll go Jackson Coyben. Um, yeah, it wouldn't shock me if, Spieth won here to really kickstart his career. I don't think Coyben, I mean, funny too, Coyben was a better amateur than Spieth was, which is, I mean, Coyben's like the best amateur in a long, long time, which is crazy.
it is pretty wild, but I guess it sort of makes sense that that's what they're doing. So
Yeah, I'm
you
gonna
see,
text Bob right now.
is it Bob? Yeah.
Yeah, if you have any more Texan thoughts while we wait on him.
Not sure I do. It's really just it's time to get it in gear. I think it just a lot of it feels forced. Um, like he's just trying to jam good rounds out of what he's got. And it just feels tired and old. And not fresh, and maybe that repetitiveness will somehow grind good rounds out of him here soon, but um it's a tough watch at times too, which is unfortunate.
I never typically throw in the towel, and he was even featured on Saturday, but I had no interest in watching,
Yeah.
which I never typically get to that point. But I mean, after Friday, he had no chance of posting a good finish. Like, there's no chance of a 62, 62 to backdoor, which I guess in theory, if he did do that, he would have backdoored. But like realistically, there was no good chance of doing anything. over the weekend, which is tough. But it's just how it's been. I mean, this season's went downhill, and I don't think it's salvageable. I think the top 50 and securing signature event status next year is the goal. Um, but that's certainly not what we had our eyes set on, dating back to the Sony this year when he started off playing good golf back at Sony with I think it was a T24 to open the year. So a lot of promise on this podcast, and kind of since then it's not since then it's went downhill. I think since after the Masters it's kind of went downhill.
Yeah. No, I mean, still sitting on 8 top 25s this year. Like, there's definitely some light green boxes. Just trying to find those extra shots to get them into a much better location on, the FedEx Cup, Data Golf, OWGR, all that stuff. So, and you think about it, he's going to miss another Cup team,
Yeah.
and he's well behind the 8 ball for getting to Adari Manor. So, and I know that can change pretty quickly. You play well in a few majors and things will go your way, but with the lack of made putts and majors, it just doesn't seem like that's going to flip anytime soon either.
No, it's sad. I mean, we haven't even discussed the President's Cup on this podcast just because it's not happening.
No.
And it's sure it's in part due to some Americans, raising their level and playing good golf, but all Jordan Spieth has to do is be 30th in the data golf rankings, and he's probably getting the nod.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean he's a top 12 American player if he would have done that, but he's not even giving, I think it's Captain Furyk, anything to ponder. I think it's Captain Furyk. No, it might be Captain Snedeker.
Yeah.
I believe it's Captain Snedeker.
Captain Sneds.
Which is disappointing. I mean, you hate to miss a cup team, but I think you kind of alluded to it, Dan. It's a long shot as well right now. Making that Ryder Cup team next year is a lot bigger deal than making a President's Cup team. Excuse me.
Yeah.
You hate to miss either one, but as a Spieth fan and someone who follows the guy religiously, I don't want to say I don't have a problem with it, but the President's Cup it's the President's Cup. It's not like it's certainly not the Ryder Cup, and it's like I don't mind not having to devote 4 to 5 days of my life to watching the President's Cup when the outcome is typically never in doubt.
Yeah. That's well said. Is it my pick or is Bob's?
It's Bob's. I think if Bob doesn't get back to me within the next couple minutes, we can just call it a wrap and take care of it tomorrow or over chat. But yeah, it's a shame Bob can't join us tonight. I think he had a computer malfunction. His charger broke and there's no replacement. So
Yeah.
unfortunate. Could be good luck though for our guy if Bob's not here. Who knows?
True. I feel like we'd have to go back and do some serious research on the history of 200 episodes. When Bob's not here, how well does the Texan play?
Well, there's only been one win, so I don't think Bob missed that week. And the Texans lacked good play in quite a few tournaments. So
Yeah.
You did mention the group. Great group.
Yes.
Hate to interrupt you.
Definitely the group of the week for sure.
Yes. Him and Koiven seems like the proper group. I don't want to sing Spieth's swan song, but the guy who won it here at 19 years old,
Yeah.
and the now, biggest, I guess, potential up and coming star we have on the tour kind of seems fitting with probably the best player in the field right now in Griffin.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Griffin part, I think I appreciate as a very good third kind of star. Would have been funny if it was Zach Johnson in there. It's like the used to be, and the could be. But grandpa middle aged and the young man. So yeah, we'll see. It's I'm excited to get out early, late. Didn't even check the weather. It could do that. I know there's a kind of heat wave ripping across the country right now. It was ooh, up in the heat index over 100 today
Oof,
in Michigan. So
similar here.
that's coming your way. Looks like Silvis gonna be hot Thursday, so kind of a benefit to get out early, and then Friday they're expecting some thunderstorms in the afternoon, so may not even really get out much Friday. Play a lot of golf Saturday and Sunday, which this isn't too bad of a thing. Wind looks okay for the most part, nothing too crazy, which is a little disappointing. I do think the course, like I mentioned earlier, plays a tad more difficult than you might expect when the wind actually has some influence. But it looks like it's going to be pretty. Maybe Thursday, Friday might cause some issues, but the weekend's going to soft golf course, going to have to go get it. Par 71, I guess depending on where you're at. I guess is the weekend they'll play to 4 shots under par. They'll probably be a par-ish 69 relative to the field. So yeah, certainly looking for mid 60s every day out here. I'm not just, and I think ultimately that's like, I mean, there's a lot of reasons the Texan struggles to shoot in the mid 60s, but I'm just not sure that number is attainable for where his game's at right now.
No, it's tough to disagree. You worry about the clunker day if he gets 4 days where he loses a couple to the field.
Right.
We've been, struggling to find good rounds as of late, but the bad rounds are certainly there. And I don't, yeah, I kind of agree, Dan. I think he'll have one round at least this week that's worse than average, which is not uncommon, but you can't win a golf tournament typically doing that. Not that's very attainable this week, but we'll see. I don't have too much more. Bob's not really getting back to me to get his picks in, which is fine. I think that's about all I got. I'm trying to think if I have anything else. Reese Spieth. I think I said what we got: Deere, Open, Wyndham, St. Jude. So 4 guaranteed events left, which is kind of nuts. Unless he, surprises with a 3M or a Detroit, which who knows? I mean, if it goes south, I mean, if he's playing those events, it's no bueno. But we'll see. You got anything else, Dan?
No, I'm excited. Should be a good week. Hope everybody enjoys the holiday, and finds a way to stay cool, properly hydrate, and whatever that means to you. Um, whether that's cracking a few cold ones or, drinking a bunch of water. Enjoy it. Happy 250 to USA. And then we'll be back for a recap pod next week, assuming it's worthy of a recap. I kind of presume that a missed cut or something in the T60 range is not going to warrant a podcast. But we've kind of alluded to it. The whole pod's going to Birkdale, which is really cool. So sure there'll be some content and some lead up, as well as some form of live podcast. I guess we'll kind of have to figure that out from Wednesday in Liverpool in the Merseyside. So plenty of good stuff coming up. I guess I had one more thought that I was thinking about a few days ago. It's like, are we hitting a panic button right now in terms of, well, I guess I'll let you create your own context for that. Like, have you hit the panic button on Spieth and maybe explain why you have or haven't.
I'm gonna let the season play out. I feel like I hit it at Truist, to be honest. I think that's when I declared the season kind of dead, which I've unfortunately been proven correct on so far. But no, I hate to be bleak, but for the first time in, quite a few years, unless these next four events or five, if he adds another one that we don't foresee go poorly, it's like he goes into an off season with really no excuse. It's like for
Yeah.
why the season was bad. Like he's healthy, um, which is nice, but hasn't really changed anything result wise. He's got nothing. So if these last few events go poorly, or again, I don't really know what salvages the year to make me say, "Oh, good year." He probably has to win, which I mean, I think even if he wins the John Deere this week, I don't know if come season's end, over the moon. I think at this point I probably would be,
Yeah.
but from a whole like year to year, like a full year context, I
I
wouldn't be
think
over the moon. But
I think the salvage is just like competitive golf, like really in golf tournaments down the stretch.
yeah, that'd be nice. But no, I think I pressed the panic button back at Truist, but it's like I need change this offseason if nothing, goes well these next four because he's got nothing. He's not getting surgery on his wrist. He didn't have a full offseason to work on mechanics. He's already done that. Um, so something needs to change this offseason if these four events don't go well. He's
Yeah.
got, I mean, if he comes back in January with the same team, and I'm not calling for firings, but if he thinks that's the way to go, and from what we've been told, that's not happening, then I want the lab. I want something new
Yeah.
because there's really no reason as a Spieth fan if he does nothing this offseason to change anything. Come January 1st to 27, you should be excited to watch this guy play golf. That's the sad truth, I think.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think the my panic button gets hit if we're, our best finish here is a T22. We don't make it to Bellerive, and we're looking in the off season, and we're kind of standing back on the first tee come next January, and there's nothing. He hasn't talked about any changes at all. Um, I think that's when it gets hit. I was thinking about, man, did I hit one this season? I think ultimately it's not a panic button. I think the expectations never got high enough to panic. Like the golf just has been so mid at best that a panic button didn't really exist. It's just like, oh, we're pushing for better, and better never came. Um, and you know, I think there'd be something if, man, he started the year hot for, a couple top fives, got really close to a win, didn't get anything, and now we're playing golf like this. I think maybe I would have a panic button to push, but it feels like we're not pushing. There's no panic within a season because the expectations aren't there. It's panic within like a career because it's slowly dwindling away. And certainly just losing prime years of what could be an awesome career, what already was an awesome career, but it's like, man, 10 years ago he had pretty much the same resume he's got now. Almost 9 years, I guess. So, I mean, we'll see. Maybe there's some juice this week at the John Deere. Feels like a T21, T34, like nothing great. Gonna find a way to be like, oh, he's like, okay. It's like, yeah, he's just a middle of the pack golfer. But anyway, we'll see what happens this week. Hopefully a recap is warranted. And then if not, we'll see you guys at Birkdale. That's all I've got. Um, so excited to get this week kicked off.
Yeah, still no Bob response, but yeah, somber tone to end on. But this has been a pretty somber year. Um, I've never pulled out the JETS just end the season in my what 8 years of running my Instagram, but this year it's just like went downhill. It's just been
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Even the play in Doral, at that point I was kind of annoyed, and it's just kind of been pretty crappy. It's gotten worse ever since then. So here's just some good vibes this week in John Deere, reviving the season
Yeah.
and hopefully creating some excitement and a passionate recap of a week this week at the John Deere that can have us thinking at Birkdale that there's a glimmer of hope or a chance. Because I mean, if going over the pond with no glimmer of hope or chance would just stink. And he can certainly wrap that up this week if he doesn't do something. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's all I got. I think you kind of said your piece as well, Dan. Don't want to interrupt or speak for you, but yeah.
I'm set.
All righty. Well, that's awesome. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, to episode 200. Thanks for all of you that have listened to all 200. There probably can't be that many of you, but I'm sure there's a couple souls out there crazy enough to do so. So yeah, we'll be back for episode 201, hopefully recapping this week at the John Deere if the play warrants one, and if not, we'll see you across the pond.
See you in Birkdale. Yep. Take care,
Till
everyone.
then, see ya.